Welcome. Our topic for this class is decision making. Decision making. Under this topic, we'll look at the meaning of this topic, what decision making is. We'll look at the meaning of decision making, which will discuss the decision making process. We'll also look at the types or classification of decisions. Then we look at what we call the concept of relevant cost. Having discussed that, we'll move to the features of a relevant cost. The concept of relevant cost, features of relevant cost. Then we look at some examples of relevant cost and examples of irrelevant cost. Then lastly, we'll discuss the application of relevant cost. So these are things we would look at under this topic. Now, what is decision making? Decision making is the process which involves making a choice in the midst of different options. So it involves making a choice amongst competing alternatives, and the essence of this is to achieve a particular objective. As we all know that decision is all about the future, it's all about a choice, it's all about achievement of a desire. So decision making will be concerned with the future and involves the choice between options or alternatives. So we can say that decision making is the art of choosing from among different options available. Decision making is one of the important aspects of the functions of management, and here we'll be discussing the decisions involving the acquisition of an asset, product mix, production method, pricing method, whatever an organization had to formulate decisions on. We'll look at these options. But however, when you're talking about a decision, it means that there are options. You only make decisions when you have options or alternatives. In a situation where there are no options, by options we mean you can choose between A or B. But if it is only A that is available, then there is no choice. It's either A or nothing. But when you are between A and B, if you don't want to go for A, you go for B. If you don't want to go for B, you go for A. It's that simple. But when you don't have an option, you can't talk about a decision, right? Now, if you're going to make a decision, there are procedures. The first thing is you should be able to identify what the problem is. What do you want to do? What are the problems? Define your objectives. How do you get this done? Then consider the options that are available. This is a problem. The problem is I need money. How do I make sure that I achieve money? I go into business. What type of business can I do? Can I sell recharge cards? Can I start up a fish business? Can I set up farming? You identify your alternatives. Once you identify your alternatives, then get relevant data. What do I need to set up a recharge card business? What do I need to set up an agricultural business? What do I need to set up the business? Collect your data. When you collect your data, then evaluate the decisions, evaluation of the alternatives. So the next thing is for you to evaluate, carry out an analysis. So the evaluation is appraisal that you have to carry out. You need to review to see what you can get. Then by the time you carry out your appraisal, you now make your choice. So selection of the course of action. So when you make your selection, it doesn't really end there. From your selection, this is the point where you make your decision. Making decision. This is where you make the decision. By the time you make your decision, you need to implement. That means you have to act on it. Implementation. So after implementation, you can now go ahead and put control measures. Post implementation control. So it is simple. By the time you carry out your implementation control, then you can be rest assured that things will fall in place, or things are actually based on what you have set up. Alright? Okay? Now, once you have been able to identify the decision process, in this topic we'll look at the classification of decisions. So your decisions can be classified into types. We can look at decisions based on time. We can look at decisions on the basis of the circumstance under which decisions are made. When we talk about circumstance, you can make decisions under 3 environment or circumstance. You can make decisions where the outcome is certain, the certainty factor. You can make decisions under level of risk, and you can take decisions under level of uncertainty. But however, for the purpose of this lecture, this is out of your syllabus. Okay? So, not discussed here. We'll not discuss it here. In the next level, you'll be discussing that topic. Okay? But on the basis of time, you can be making decisions under a long term and under a short term. So you can make a long term decisions. These are decisions that we call capital expenditure, capital budgeting decisions. So this can involve acquisition of an asset, building of house, and what have you. Then the short-term decisions. When we talk about short-term decisions, they are decisions that do not extend beyond 1 year. There are decisions that will not extend beyond 1 year. So our focus will be on this particular decision. The short-term decisions. Now, when we talk about short-term decisions, there are decisions that are based on relevant cost. And when we talk about relevant cost, a relevant cost is any item of cost that will be changed when a decision is taken. A cost is said to be relevant provided there is a future cash flow arising from direct consequence of a decision. Okay? So, if we are talking about relevant costs, there are costs that you will incur as a result of a decision. And a relevant cost must not be incurred before a decision. If the cost comes before the decision, such cost will not be relevant to future decisions. But for you to talk about relevant